Now, French Revolution is a huge topic. This topic goes on for almost 25 years, from 1789 when the revolution actually began to 1799 when Napoleon declared himself to be the counsel for the life. तो ये 10 साल की बात है. And even beyond that, from 1799 till 1815, when he is finally out of picture and disbanded to some remote island in Atlantic. तो इस रिवॉल्यूशन के कई सारे फेजेस हैं. This is the main revolution, and this is the new revolution when Napoleon is taking control of it. He is shaping it, reshaping it, and then exporting it as well. So these are the two main stages. Even within that, the first 10 years are also interspersed with multiple phases. उसके भी अंदर मतलब if you see the whole duration, it is actually revolution in a literal sense. It started with a monarch at the beginning from the Bourbon dynasty. It ended with the monarch at the end with Bonaparte dynasty, and then again Bourbon dynasty. That is one. So पहिया जो है पूरा घूम के वापस वही लौट के आता है. Not only that, it has multiple revolutions within it. You know how many times they changed the constitution? 3 times. इसके अंदर 3 अलग अलग constitution, number 1, number 2, number 3 3 बार आते हैं. We have 5 governments coming and going within those 25 years. So 3 constitutions, 5 governments, and multiple coups and counter coups, revolutions and counter revolutions. So it's a bloody, it's a messy, it's a complicated and a long drawn event, and it is too much open to multiple interpretations about ये कितना सही था, कितना खराब था, कितना important था, कितना बेकार था. So much so that it has generated extremely rich amount of historiographical debate. There is an interesting thing that happened in 1989, 200 साल के बाद, 200 years after, in France. There they commemorated the bicentenary of this event of French Revolution, and immediately after that, the counter revolution was also celebrated, because at that time the government was not left wing. So the point is that revolution के अंदर तो झगड़े है ही, historians के अंदर भी है और समाज के अंदर भी है. So it's a very controversial event. Nonetheless, it is definitely extremely significant event, all the more so than American Revolution. American Revolution इसके पहले होती है, and we have seen that. It is fundamental. It is the first expression of the Enlightenment ideals, yes. But French Revolution is much more radical. It's look at the declarations. एक simple फर्क देख लो. In American Revolution, you have the Constitution, and then when the Constitution is about to get ratified, at that time, willy-nilly, grudgingly, they accept Bill of Rights. So we'll begin before 1789 and end in 1815, before 1789. Before 17, that is causes. Then we'll go to Napoleon, and then we'll go to legacy. And that too, the questions are not that difficult. If you have a good understanding, you will get to know that there is a lot of scope to go into conceptual and reveal your conceptual understanding. More so in this topic, you will get to touch some amount of historiography, typical history. That is okay enough for world history. Okay. So I hope you all remember, in the European history, we had reached the point of enlightenment. We understood what its meaning was, how it spread, and everything. Do you recall that? Enlightenment was the principle of rationalism applied to all parts of human life, solve questions, progressive idea of human progress, and all those things. The a process of enlightenment was one important stage in the early medieval time, early modern time. It started with commercial revolution, mercantile revolution, the formation of larger absolutist state, Reformation, Renaissance, everything is there. It actually led to the emergence of, as we have seen, two important social classes. The one class was middle class, the mercantile community, or as you in this context would prefer to call them bourgeoisie. Bourgeoisie मतलब वही French word. So you know from where the word bourgeois has come. तो शब्द का मूल अर्थ क्या है? Etymological root of the word bourgeois. It has come from B-O-U-R-G or B-O-R-G-H. This is the root word of bourgeois. इसका मतलब है शहर, टाउन. राइट, कई सारे यूरोपियन लाइक स्ट्रासबर्ग, बर्ग, एडिनबर्ग, राइट. सो दिस वर्क विथ टाउन. So when we say bourgeois, originally it meant the people of town. What does it mean? It means the people who participate in the economic activity that is connected with cities. It is commercial, it is capitalistic. It is not the old feudal agricultural land related activity. They are capitalist people. They are the class as such arose out of mercantile revolution. And who was the friend? The friend was monarchy. The monarchy was also feeling oppressed and feeble and weak in the hands of aristocrats and the church. The both of them controlled whole power, and the king was very weak originally in the medieval time. The characteristic feature of the early modern is the rise of nationalist state, nation state, which were ruled by one absolutist monarch. उसने धीरे धीरे पावर अपने हाथ में हथिया ली. How he could do that? He had to create, first of all, bureaucracy to collect the revenue, and secondly, he had to create army. And for that, he needed money. Money came by his support to mercantile people from their external things. तो इसलिए यहाँ पे mercantile people needed support of the king to get charter and protection and concessions and all those things. So दोनों का यहाँ पे मिली भगत थी. It's a win-win thing for both of them, and because of that, ultimately we have the rise of the absolutist monarch at the expense of the power of church and aristocrats. There is one more point which I had not mentioned earlier, but let me talk about it. Technological change also played some role in this transition. We have the emergence of artillery. जब artillery शुरू होती है, it's very costly, it's high tech, it's very powerful, it is very destructive. So the artillery becomes a tool in the hand of a very powerful person, that is the monarch. तो उनको जो ट्रूप्स सप्लाई करते थे सोल्जर्स की, भाई हमारे 1000 सैनिक ले जाओ, हमारे 5000 ले जाओ, उनकी तो इम्पोर्टेंस कम हो गई. द किंग्स डिपेंडेंस on the feudal lords reduced because now the king has access to artillery. So ये चलो, so rise of artillery also led to emergence of strong monarch. But that is one thing. My point is that monarchy is emerging and mercantile class is emerging. That is the characteristics of the early modern. A point comes where the middle class starts asking for more and more power, and monarchy feels threatened कि भाई इससे अधिक power देंगे तो दिक्कत हो जाएगी. When middle class gets angry, it puts up the demands on the form of charter, and those demands are called as enlightenment. कि हमारे ये अधिकार होने चाहिए, we have to get this at least right, ये नहीं बदलो वो बदलो जो कुछ है, limit your power. The king got frustrated, king got angry, then he sided with his old friends. He understood ultimately कि भाई एक ही थाली के चट्टे बट्टे कौन है? चर्च, एरिस्टोक्रेसी, मोनार्की. इनको साथ में रहेंगे तो साथ में रहेंगे, वरना डूब जाएंगे. The king, there is realignment of the class interest in the 18th century. The king now shifts the side away from the middle class and goes towards church and aristocracy. And then the tussle is bound to happen. Ideas की बात कितने साल करोगे? From 1680s to 1780s, for one entire century, for 3 generations, the middle class talked about ideas. कुछ तो करो, अमेरिका में हो गया. and then the revolution happens in France.